Right.
Hello, I am David Swansbuckle.
And I am Warren Spector.
We are Metropolitan elites, and we're coming at you live from our ivory towers, and the left-wing Illuminati is going to ring us up. They're lizards, and they said this.
Yeah, just like we thought.
Just like we thought. So what did the left-wing lizards want?
They were talking about Iain Duncan Smith, and obviously there's been a bit of controversy this week, as it turns out the DWP have been making stuff up.
Do you want to clarify what they've been making up?
Yeah, they've been making up benefit claimants who's saying the sanctions really helped them out and were really good for them. Really good CVs out of their sanctions now. It turns out it was fabricated characterisations.
Yeah, there were stock pictures.
Yeah.
And they actually had names. There was Zeb or something. It was really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, first thing I did, I went on to the message, not the message boards, the reply sections on the newspapers, and looked for the comment section. Looked for people trying to defend it. That's the funniest bit, isn't it? How can you defend this? And I have to admit, it's quite sad. I went through many pages in a couple of different newspapers to find anybody trying to defend this, and there was someone saying it's just a minor error, but to make a reasonable point. If it was a reasonable point, then you could make it by real people, because the people would be real. They're not real because it doesn't happen.
Yeah. I actually wonder about the comment section on newspapers. How much of them are actual
troll?
People paid to post.
We know those people exist.
Yeah.
There have been confirmations of somebody said that they were on a thing in a sort of secret company somewhere, and they had to go on message boards and support Israel.
Weird, yeah.
I bet there's like another one next door supporting Palestine.
Yeah.
Interesting, all sorts of interesting stories about that kind of thing. But yeah, I think sometimes they're government people. Obviously, there's always the following the IP address stuff, and so much comes from the Parliament headquarters.
It's like an echo chamber. You just hear the government spin on everything, just re-echoed in the comment section of newspapers, and you think surely some of this must be paid. It's like when you go into the job centre or something, you pick up a leaflet. And there's a guy on there who says, "Oh yeah, I was sanctioned because I didn't update my CV and I forgot to go to a meeting." And it really helped me out actually, because it gave me time to sort my CV out. You look at it and you think, that can't be real. Surely not.
Yeah.
It turns out it's not. So it's probably quite likely that half the comments on newspaper comment sections are actually from Conservative Party headquarters.
Yeah, I suppose it was probably decided, well, there's no way of defending this. The best thing to do is let it blow over, which it will.
Yeah.
It'll be blown over, and no one will be talking about this in 2020.
Yeah. The DWP is quite ridden with controversy. There's the Universal Credit, the IT project, which was an abject failure.
Spectacular.
Iain Duncan Smith, I don't think, has even admitted to that to this day. He tried to implement a IT solution in one big, massive, humongous lump, which has failed on numerous occasions, including the last Labour government NHS system.
Yeah,
that was pretty much abandoned.
That was shocking waste of time, that one.
I think he was told, in no uncertain terms, look, don't do it like this because it's very difficult to flippantly.
I can do it. I know everything. Yeah. I'm a Tory, not those Labour people who are awful. We're not all exactly the same.
Yeah. I have to ask the question: why is Iain Duncan Smith even on the front bench? I mean, he was a laughing stock about.
Yeah, that's the thing.
12 years ago.
He didn't lose an election. He didn't get that far.
He didn't last one term.
He was kicked out by his party, wasn't he?
2 years he lasted.
They did gain councillors in local elections during his stay, but I think that's normal for opposition, isn't it? Anyway. So.
Yeah, and you have to. This was we look at Labour today. We're not going to mention the Labour thing too much because we've done a lot on that. But Labour are saying, "Oh, this is terrible. We're in so much war." When Iain Duncan Smith was leader in 2002, 2003, whatever it was, he was ousted by a vote of 90 to 75, which means they had 165 MPs.
Yep.
That was a real low ebb.
Yeah.
And
it's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago, and the fact that he couldn't make any headway. Heseltine came out and said we've got no chance of beating Labour in the next general election. This was a real low point for the party. The only way they could go was up.
Yeah.
And yet he managed to drag it down even further.
So obviously being replaced by Michael Howard. That's much better, isn't it? But obviously Michael Howard was there as a caretaker, just to. He was one of the old people deliberately. Although he was kind of tarnished and whatever, that was the idea. We're just the same, just to keep it going rather than off the cliff, I suppose.
Yeah.
And obviously now there's a strong effort to make the message that the same thing's happening in reverse now, and it isn't really.
No, it's not.
Because the Tories, even with all that, they only just
got over the finishing line.
Got over, yeah. Worse than John Major.
Pretty bad, really.
Yeah. So and Labour didn't get like 160 MPs. They got 280 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it isn't that bad.
No.
But I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, we're talking about Iain Duncan Smith.
Yeah, on his Wikipedia page there's a section called Creative Writing. I thought that was quite funny. It wasn't quite what I was hoping, but it's still quite funny.
The Devil's Tune, are we talking about?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
So even... So the guy gets, he lasts for 2 years. Yeah, he's kicked out by his own MPs. So he decides to write a book called The Devil's Tune, which was sort of, I think he was going for the Jeffrey Archer sort of kind of high action thriller.
I was going to mention him. I don't know how far we can go with this without getting sued, but yeah, I was actually going to mention Jeffrey Archer when we talk about all this stuff. I think we have to mention he was one of the first to support the invasion of Iraq. Not only that, he was the man in opposition said, "Oh yeah, I've seen the dossier there, that one there that you can't see. So you can't see it, but it does prove that we have to go into Iraq. It proves the WMDs are there, but we're not going to show it you." So any notion that it was a secret Labour Party thing and the rest of the government, the rest of the people in the Commons didn't know.
This guy was an embarrassment to the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
He'd been nationally lampooned. Do you remember on Have I Got News For You, they referred to him as two people, Iain and Duncan Smith.
Oh yeah, and it's like the real worst elements of New Labour. The way Mandelson just kept coming back. He just comes back again, and the people have said no, and he's back again, and you can't get rid of him, and he's an evil man.
Yeah, there's an interesting comparison there, because one of the things that people say is the worst thing about the DWP is the spin that comes out of it. He appointed some guy, an ex-Murdoch man. He was involved at the Times and the Sun, a guy who defended Page 3 as a national institution, which people quite happily put up with, as a civil servant at the DWP, the head of communication. And he's obviously a spin doctor, but the point about civil servants are they're supposed to be neutral.
Yeah.
It's obvious that he's working for the
He's a spin doctor, yeah. That's his job.
He's working for the Tory party.
Yeah.
His name's Richard Caseby, and he seems to do some articles for lots of public relations magazines. There's one about how to refer to disabled people. Because obviously he's got lots of experience of that now.
Yep.
The DWP, kicking disabled people off benefits and making them commit suicide. We'll probably cut that out.
Nope, it stays. Listen to this, it's true.
He says things like, terminology is important. Use the terms disabled people or people with health conditions rather than the disabled. Blind and partially sighted people rather than the blind. Getting these words and phrases right is a simple way to show understanding and create empathy.
Because they've got lots of empathy.
Yeah, so, this from the guy who has caused some real hardship for some disabled people. It's quite a regular occurrence that the stories that actually manage to get through to the mainstream media only get through because they're quite heart-wrenching. And Iain Duncan Smith seems to be completely immune to it.
This is the problem. We don't have any empathy with him. I don't understand. How can you do this? And he's an ideologue, like so many of them, obviously. And he did say, the whole curbing benefits thing, it was about making people better off in work. And he did say the way Labour were going will end up with a dystopian caste society, as there'll be a lower caste kind of thing if we carry on as we are. And he's trying to change it. But when the judge ruled, yes, you have broke the code of practice for official statistics, he said, well, I believe this to be right, so it doesn't matter what the evidence is. I believe it's right. Now, I'd imagine he knows what that legally that protects it, I would think. But that reminded me of Tony Blair, actually. Didn't matter what the evidence was about WMDs or whatever. He believed he was right, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what you believe. And that's really dark.
He's quite a despicable man. And, you know, this is the kind of thing that... I mean, we're quite hopeful that Tony Blair faces some kind of justice over Iraq. If indeed he did anything wrong. Now, there's a lot of rumours about why the inquiry is taking so long, the Chilcot inquiry, and it's widely assumed that it's because...
Well, we could have predicted it, couldn't we?
People from the Tony Blair camp are stalling.
And don't forget Americans as well, honestly. We will never get something where people are named.
Yeah.
It will not happen.
But it is time that, you know, people sort of are held to account for what they've done.
Yeah, but...
and I think Iain Duncan Smith is in that category.
Well, obviously. Yeah.
If he's been advised that people suffer greatly as a result of his draconian actions, I'd like to see him in the dock. I'd like to see him justify himself properly and see how it goes. No, it won't happen. It won't happen.
You know, and it really is an elite being protected by a whole structure of spin and proper 1984 style, you know, all that stuff. I think it was in June this year, another judge ruled that he was in breach of duty as the Secretary of State, Work and Pensions, to act on ensuring people are getting their benefits and people are safe and all that stuff. And of course, there's this thing about them hiding the stats. The DWP, of course, it's never... You know, that how many people have suffered as a result, how many people have died as a result, how many people have committed suicide as a result, compared to what it was. We have to have
some kind of
it's got to be not scientific, but they are blocking that information, aren't they? They're fighting legally to hide the information. Apparently, there was some information around that he went to the University of Perugia in Italy, and he didn't.
This is his made-up CV.
Yeah, and it was University of Strandirgi, which is in Perugia, but doesn't award degrees, or didn't then, and didn't finish his exams, apparently. And so I think then they changed it. So on the Conservative website and everything, it said, what is it? Dunchurch College of Management. That's where he went. Which is actually just a staff college for GEC Marconi where he was working. Obviously his mates got him into there. And he did 6 courses, making a total of a month of study. That's where he got his degree.
Yeah.
Making up your CV and you want to be a politician.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost as bad as people who do get rich quick scams on the internet becoming Conservative politicians.
Yeah,
into positions of prominence.
I wonder who that could be.
He's quite a slimy individual, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, I mean, already we've mentioned the thing about the credit card story and the fact it disappeared from the Telegraph. Of course, that wasn't a story. That was I just noticed that, you know. And there was the thing about him punching the air during the. Yeah. Hang on. Let's just film that again to make sure that the camera's got it. Yeah. I wanted to say something good and have some sort of understanding of what he's doing, but you know, this notion of misinformation is wrong. There's no way around it. You can't justify it. It's like anything. It's like sort of televangelists who get caught out pretending to talk to God, and they've got someone in their ear doing the research for them. They've obviously figured it out in their minds to justify it and think they're doing something good, and I'm sure. He must believe he's doing good, not in a completely narcissistic way. He must believe that. There's no justification for misinformation. Give us the truth. And if you're right, the truth will bear that out.
Correct. Iain Duncan Smith, everybody.
Iain Duncan Smith. Thank you, Iain Duncan Smith.
I wonder what, What else?
It's just depressing, isn't it?
It's very depressing. It's a very depressing state of affairs that we've got ourselves into. But, you know, the electorate did vote for the Conservatives.
Yep.
We asked for it. I noticed we've had some emergency services move from our hospital already.
Yep, it's happening secretly.
Over to Worcester.
It was going to happen, and then, oh no, it's actually not going to happen. But we're just going to do it anyway without telling anyone.
They seem to be doing it piecemeal. Has gone across. So the people in this town who returned a Conservative MP for the second time running with an increased majority, we're starting to lose emergency services at the local hospital. And we're supposed to go to a hospital which is 35 minutes away on a good day. I know because I do it every day.
But you're dependent on a
major
bottleneck.
Yeah, I mean, a motorway is involved, and it's one of the busiest motorways in the country. Mm. So if you happen to be not very well at a particularly busy time of the day, tough shit.
Yeah.
You're going to die on the road.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. The lizards and all that.